Imagine waking up in a world where your entire existence is just engineered.
Right.
Like your absolute sole purpose for drawing breath has been carefully planned out by systems way, way beyond your control.
Systems you don't even fully understand.
Exactly. You are literally a living, breathing, magical battery for a race of demigods.
Demigods who demand your service.
Yeah. And you've spent your whole life being indoctrinated.
Yeah.
Told over and over that this servitude is a massive honor, a sacred duty.
It's all you know.
Right? And then in just one terrifying, incredibly violent night, you find out that everything you were ever taught.
Every single thing.
Yeah, your identity, your history, your actual soul. It's all a complete and utter lie.
It really is the ultimate rug pull.
It is. So, welcome back to this deep dive. Today we are looking at a massive, incredibly dense stack of sources.
Very dense.
We've got excerpts, extensive character reference guides, a beautifully detailed map of the realm of Devram.
And we also have the author's own very specific content warnings and notes.
Right, exactly. This is all for Reign of Shadows and Endings, which is book 1 of the Legacy series by Melissa K. Roehrich.
A fantastic but heavy starting point.
Totally. Now, our mission today is ambitious. We are going to guide you through the intricate, awe-inspiring world building of this universe.
Chart the intense political maneuverings of the ruling class.
Yes, and really dissect the incredibly dark psychological character dynamics that drive this whole story forward.
Because it's not a simple story.
Not at all. We'll extract the most fascinating lore, analyze what is undeniably a toxic but overwhelmingly compelling relationship between our main characters.
And uncover the hidden secrets of the gods themselves.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
Because the sheer density of the world building here is staggering. We aren't just looking at a simple fantasy kingdom. We are looking at a multi-layered cosmos with a very specific and very cruel power structure.
It is remarkably dense, and we really need to establish right away that this isn't just your standard fantasy romance.
No, definitely not.
It is a profound exploration of trauma, systemic oppression, and the absolute loss of bodily autonomy.
Yeah, that bodily autonomy aspect is huge.
It is. But before we get into the mechanics of this universe, we must respectfully acknowledge the author's content warnings provided in our sources.
Good call. We need to put that right up front.
The material we are diving into contains heavy, pervasive themes of severe depression, trauma, psychological manipulation, and abuse.
Yeah, it gets incredibly dark.
The author explicitly notes that this is dark fiction meant to explore the messy human reactions to trauma. It is not meant to condone the behaviors of its characters.
Right. It's about examining what happens to a person's psyche when they are pushed way beyond their breaking point.
Precisely. So please keep that in mind as we navigate these incredibly dark waters today.
For sure.
Right.
Because the architecture of Devram is built on a foundation of inequality disguised as divine balance.
That's a great way to put it. Disguised balance.
And since we know most of you joining us today are already deeply familiar with Devram, we aren't going to sit here and read you a textbook glossary of the 6 first gods.
Right. We all know the pantheon.
Exactly. We know Philaine is wisdom, Celeste is the sky, Anila is fire, Seraphina is dreams.
And we know the heavy hitters.
Oh yeah. Akaz, the god of light and beginnings, and Arius, the god of death and endings.
The big two.
But looking at the source material again, what really strikes me is just the sheer cowardice of these first gods.
Cowardice is the perfect word.
Right. Because they create these demigod children across various realms, the legacy, and then they just panic.
They realize they've created a demographic that could overpower them.
Yes. So what is their grand divine solution?
Quarantine.
Literally just quarantine.
They essentially turn the world of Devram into a cosmic dumping ground. They shove all the existing legacy onto one single world to contain them.
Just lock them all in one room.
Basically. They hand them mortal servants to do the mundane chores. They provide them with advanced technology siphoned from other worlds, and then the gods just wash their hands of the situation.
They abandon the realm entirely.
But the socio-political structure they leave behind is what really warrants our analysis.
Oh, 100%.
Because the gods knew the legacy had overwhelming godlike power wells. To manage that, they created the Fae. The Fae are the failsafe.
Right, but let's really look at what being a failsafe means in this society.
It's grim.
It's so grim. The Fae are given elemental magic earth, air, fire, water, and extended lifespans, but they aren't citizens.
No, they're resources.
Literally just resources. They are raised in estates, which are essentially glorified orphanages, or honestly, more accurately, indoctrination camps.
Grooming facilities is the precise term I would use.
Yeah, grooming facilities.
The horrific systemic inequality here cannot be overstated. The Fae are kept deliberately ignorant of the true history of the realms.
They don't know anything about the outside world.
Nothing. They are meticulously conditioned to believe that their highest calling is to serve as a source for the legacy.
Right, because the legacy carry the power of gods in their veins.
And while they can refill these massive power wells naturally over a long period, draining themselves leaves them vulnerable.
Which they hate.
Exactly. But if they draw magic directly from a Fae source, their power is instantly replenished.
It's the commodification of an entire sentient species.
It absolutely is.
And what's so insidious is how normalized this system of subjugation has become. You know, the legacy are divided into their 6 kingdoms, mirroring the first gods, and everyone just accepts their roles.
It's just the way things are.
Right. You have the Seraphina kingdom handling architecture, Philaine doing the scholarly work, Anila running agriculture, Celeste acting as peacekeepers and running the selection ceremonies.
But the true power dynamic, the real tension that drives everything, is between the Akaz kingdom and the Arius kingdom.
The descendants of beginnings and light versus the descendants of endings and death.
What's fascinating here is the brilliant bit of socio-political irony woven into that dynamic.
I love this part.
The Akaz kingdom, representing beginnings and light, has completely usurped the role of ultimate judgment and lawmaking for all of Devram.
Which makes no sense initially.
Right, because that role, supposedly, rightfully, belongs to the Arius kingdom, the descendants of the god of endings and judgment.
Endings literally implies final judgment.
Instead, the Arius kingdom has been relegated to the shunned nightmare corner of the world.
Just pushed away into the mountains.
Forced to handle the worst of the worst in a hidden subterranean prison. The light has blinded everyone to its own corruption, while the dark is forced to carry the weight of the world's sins.
It's the classic subversion of light equals good and dark equals evil, but taken to a systemic extreme.
The very literal extreme.
But I want to bring this massive macro-level world building down to the micro-level experience. Let's put ourselves in the shoes of someone trapped in the very bottom of this hierarchy.
It's a terrifying place to be.
Imagine being a Fae on the night your entire life, your entire future is decided for you. You are at the Acropolis, the sacred city.
Dressed up.
Right, dressed in formal wear, waiting to see if you will be chosen as a living battery for one of the heirs of these 6 massive kingdoms.
And you have zero say in the matter.
None. Zero.
Yeah.
And that brings us to our protagonist, Tessalyn Asura.
Tessa.
Tessa. She is a Fae from the Celeste estate, but she deeply subverts the archetype of the obedient, brainwashed source in training.
Complete subverts it.
The way she is introduced to us is incredibly telling regarding her psychological state. She is at the opening selection ceremony, an event that will dictate the rest of her long life. And where is she?
She is hiding in an alcove.
Yes, she's hiding, and she's eating a piece of chocolate she literally stole off a tray meant for the legacy.
Which is such a great detail.
I love this detail so much. She is wearing this incredibly restrictive, custom-tailored black dress with a sheer emerald green coverlet.
Teetering on 4-inch heels.
Yeah, and she is just hating every single second of it. She isn't dreaming of glory or honor.
Not at all.
She just wants to survive the night without getting selected, so she can sneak out with her best friend, Dex, and eat pizza and donuts.
It grounds her perfectly.
It does. She's dealing with this massive existential dread, and her coping mechanism is stolen chocolate and the promise of junk food.
Very relatable.
And that is exactly when she is caught by Sion St. Orcus.
The meet cute that is actually a masterclass in psychological domination.
Oh, well said.
Theon is the heir to the Arius kingdom, and the sources emphasize his intensely intimidating physical presence.
He is terrifying.
He doesn't conform to the expectations of the event. While everyone else is in formal suits, Theon wears entirely tailored black clothes. A black shirt, black vest, black pants.
Refusing the jacket or tie.
Exactly. He has ebony hair and dark emerald green eyes that literally have darkness swirling faintly within them.
Actual shadows in his eyes.
And when he catches Tessa hiding, look at his behavior. He doesn't just reprimand her. He plucks the stolen chocolate right out of her fingers and sets it on a warm wall sconce just out of her reach, leaving it there to melt.
It is such a remarkably petty but dominating move.
Right.
It's a microaggression. He is physically demonstrating that he can take whatever she has, whenever he wants, and destroy it just because he can.
It establishes the power differential without a single drop of magic being used.
It really does.
He interrogates her, asking if she is slated to be selected. Now, as a fae, she has been conditioned for decades to be entirely submissive.
To bow her head and speak only when spoken to.
But Tessa shows a rare sparking defiance. She argues with him. She straight up admits she rarely obeys orders well.
And he is instantly captivated by that. You can practically see the crosshairs lock onto her.
Oh, absolutely.
She's terrified, obviously, her heart is hammering, but she is still talking back to a legacy who literally radiates death and shadows.
Which raises an important question. Why her? Why does Theon, a being of immense, almost unfathomable power and strict control, zero in on the one fae who is practically radiating disobedience?
Because it's the one thing he can't immediately control.
Exactly. In a world where every fae is conditioned to bow to him, her impulsivity and defiance are an absolute anomaly.
I'm gonna pause.
He needs a source. To fuel his magic, yes, but on a psychological level, he seems to need something that pushes back against the absolute suffocating authority of his own existence.
That makes a lot of sense.
He tells her, "Do not make me ask that question again," while twirling her golden curl around his finger.
Oh, so creepy.
It's a terrifying mix of quiet menace and intense curiosity. He is testing her boundaries, and she doesn't crumble.
So Tessa manages to slip away from him and scurries back to the grand hall where the opening selection is happening.
Thinking she got away.
Genuinely thinking she dodged a bullet. She
Yeah.
finds Dex, her best friend, and they're just waiting for it to be over.
And the ceremony is exactly what you'd expect from this society.
Pure pomp and circumstance. The H.Az heir, Dajin Jove, selects a fae named Sasha. The Celeste heir selects Jasper. The Phaelian heir selects Dade.
It's a rigid script.
Very. The ruling families have been observing these fae in the estates for years, so everyone knows exactly who is going where. There are no surprises.
Until there are.
Right. But then we get to the Arius Kingdom. They are incredibly private, they rarely leave the treacherous Ozil Mountains, and no one has any idea who Theon has been observing.
The tension in that room must have been palpable. The Arius Kingdom is feared by everyone.
And then, the shock drop. Theon steps up and selects Tessa.
Boom.
Just like that, her dreams of pizza, of quiet life with Dex, of any semblance of autonomy are entirely obliterated. She is plunged headfirst into the terrifying world of the Arius Kingdom.
And while this setup, the dark, brooding prince picking the defiant, scrappy girl might initially sound like the start of a typical romantasy trope, the sources make it explicitly clear that we are taking a hard, brutal turn into psychological horror.
We really are. Because we have to talk about what a source bond actually is.
We do.
And honestly, this is where the story gets so incredibly dark. The author's content warnings really come into focus here.
They absolutely do.
This isn't just a magical link where two beings share energy and occasionally read each other's minds. It is complete, unadulterated dominium, the total erasure of a person's free will.
Let's break down the mechanics of this bond, because it is essentially a magical codification of coercive control.
Yeah, walk us through it.
A priestess performs a rite that binds the fae to the legacy using 4 marks. These marks are physically branded onto the fae.
Branded?
Yes. Now, the initial marks might seem relatively standard for fantasy. They allow the master and source to sense each other's presence, to feel each other's emotions, and to hear each other's thoughts,
Which, even that is a profound invasion of mental privacy.
removing any safe space within one's own mind. But the 4th mark is the most insidious mechanism of control imaginable.
Right. It doesn't just allow Theon to freely draw her power whenever he wants. It physically forces Tessa's body to defend Theon at all costs.
Her own survival instincts are completely overwritten by the magic.
It's wild. If someone attacks Theon, her body will involuntarily throw itself in front of the blade,
Even if her mind desperately wants him dead.
even if she is the one who wants
Yeah.
to kill him. I want you to really think about the psychological horror of that.
How would you react if your very survival instincts, the most primal, deeply ingrained drive you possess as a living creature, were hijacked by someone else?
I would lose my mind.
Your body is no longer your own. It is a shield for your oppressor. It is the ultimate violation of bodily autonomy.
And Tessa's reaction to this is visceral and harrowing. It's so real, she doesn't just accept it and start making googly eyes at him.
No, she fights.
The moment she is taken to the Arius estate, which is located deep in the Ozil Mountains, an hours-long drive away from everything she knows, totally isolating her, she has a complete mental breakdown.
Understandably.
She is screaming. She is ripping at her own hair. She falls to her knees in pure rage and ruin. And the very first opportunity she gets, she literally tries to flee into the mountains in the middle of the night.
It's pouring rain.
Pouring rain, she's wearing flip-flops and a sweatshirt. And she doesn't care if there are monsters in the woods. She would rather die in the wild than be a puppet.
The physical and psychological toll on Tessa in these chapters is devastating, and it perfectly mirrors real-world trauma responses.
Completely.
When she tries to escape, she ends up trapped in a tree. And look at how Theon handles this. He doesn't just ask her to come down.
Of course not.
He uses his magic literal tendrils of living darkness and shadows to physically restrain her.
So brutal.
He yanks her from the branch, suspends her 15 feet in the air, and then brings her down to him. He uses his innate power to render her completely helpless.
And from there, the restrictions only tighten.
Oh, yeah.
He forces her to wear suppression bands to mute her magical power. He confines her to his suite in the massive dark castle of Arius' house.
It's imprisonment.
He makes her sign digital documents. There's a tablet that literally says, Theon St. Orcus, Master, took possession, assuming complete dominion.
It reduces her to property in a legal sense on top of the magical sense.
And his presence is just relentless. It's suffocating.
I know there's a tendency among readers of this genre to romanticize the dark, overprotective male lead, but I'd really push back on that categorization here.
Definitely. It's not romantic.
Theon's actions align perfectly with the playbook of a real-world abuser. He constantly claims he is doing this to protect her.
Classic manipulation.
He tells her that she is his destiny and tries to justify the isolation by saying she would have been separated from her friends anyway after the selection.
Justifying the unjustifiable.
He uses every justification to validate his actions, completely ignoring the fundamental reality that his methods have violently stripped her of all agency. He isolates her, controls her movement, limits her power, and monitors her thoughts.
It's textbook coercive control, dressed up in dark magic.
Exactly.
But we have to ask the question, why is he going to such extreme lengths? He could have picked a fae who would have complied willingly.
Someone who wouldn't fight him constantly.
Someone who would have bowed their head and been a good little battery. Why is he putting so much effort into breaking someone who fights him at every single turn?
To understand that, we have to look at the overarching political machinations. We have to look at what Theon is truly terrified of.
Right. It all comes back to a prophecy known as the Revelation Decree.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the Revelation Decree is the crux of the political tension in Devram.
What does the prophecy actually say?
It states, "In all things there must be balance. For dark must bow and light must rule. Life must give and death must take."
Okay, so light must rule.
Now, the Akaz kingdom interprets light must rule quite literally. They believe it gives them permanent supreme authority over all other kingdoms.
Which is why they act as the ultimate judges.
Yes. But Theon and his brother, Axel, along with their close friend Luca, are actively plotting a coup that operates in the shadows of this prophecy.
And their goal is highly specific. They aren't trying to take over all of Devram and declare themselves kings of everything.
Not at all.
They want to kill their own father, Walter, the current lord of the Arius kingdom.
Patricide.
Yeah. They want to overthrow him and take complete control of the underground.
For those unfamiliar, the underground is this hidden, horrific prison located beneath the Azul Mountains.
Overseen entirely by the Arius kingdom.
It's where the cursed, the banished, and specifically the witches are confined.
Right. Theon, Axel, and Luca actually ventured into the underground to seek out a hidden witch named Sienna to perform a forbidden guardian mark on them, linking their powers.
That shows exactly how desperate they are.
It really does. Because magic with witches is strictly forbidden.
The reason for their desperation, the reason they're willing to commit patricide is because Walter is not just a harsh ruler. He is an absolute monster.
He is terrifying.
He is the definition of a sadist. He doesn't just rule with an iron fist. He actively enjoys inflicting profound pain.
Yeah.
And there is a harrowing scene in the sources that perfectly illustrates the environment Theon and Axel were raised in.
We really need to sit with this scene for a minute because it completely recontextualizes the brothers.
It explains so much about who they are.
Walter is angry about his son's perceived failures in their political plotting, but he doesn't torture them directly.
Because he knows that physical pain means nothing to them anymore.
Right, they're immune to it by now. So to punish them, he tortures their fae servant, a woman named Pen.
Whom the brothers genuinely care about.
They do. Walter uses his magic to grow these massive thorns that dig deeply into Pen's flesh. He makes her bleed, makes her scream in absolute agony.
And he forces his sons to watch.
He just makes them stand there.
And then comes the truly terrible moment. Axel knows his father won't stop. He knows Walter will drag this torture out for hours, maybe days.
He's done it before.
And Axel is trapped. He cannot attack his father directly to save her, because doing so would expose their larger coup and doom them all.
He'd ruin years of planning.
So, in a moment of horrific mercy, Axel uses his own shadows to brutally snap Pen's neck.
God.
He kills a woman he cares about just to end her suffering at his father's hands.
And Walter. Walter just smiles proudly.
He's delighted.
He is delighted that he forced his son to become a killer of the innocent.
It is so deeply disturbing. The psychological damage inflicted on Theon, Axel, and Luca since childhood is unfathomable.
They are monsters created by a much bigger, much worse monster. Walter essentially forced them to strip away their own humanity just to survive his parenting.
Exactly, and this is why I push back on viewing Theon merely as a villainous abuser in a vacuum.
It's not black and white.
His actions toward Tessa are abhorrent, yes, but they are a desperate survival tactic. He knows he's going up against a literal god of death in his father.
He needs all the power he can get.
He isn't just looking for a battery to make himself feel powerful. He sensed an immense, untapped power within Tessa during the selection.
He needs a weapon strong enough to overthrow Walter.
To end his father's reign of terror before more people like Pen are tortured to death. From Theon's warped perspective, the ends absolutely justify the horrific means he is using to control Tessa.
He needs her power to fuel his shadows for the coup.
That's the bottom line.
He thought he had found the ultimate tool. He thought he'd selected a highly powerful Fae to use as a super battery. But the irony is, Theon is just as blind as everyone else.
He has no idea what he really captured.
None, because as we're about to reveal, Tessa is something else entirely. Everything comes to a head at the emerging ceremony.
The emerging ceremony is a massive, highly public event held at the Acropolis.
It's a huge deal.
It is where the newly selected Fae sources have their latent elemental powers forcefully awakened, and sociologically, it is a spectacle meant to reinforce the hierarchy.
Very much so.
The ceremony is held in a grand arena with the ruling legacy watching from private, luxurious boxes above, literally looking down on the Fae.
The optics are very intentional.
The rituals for the other sources go exactly as expected, maintaining the illusion of perfect control. Sasha and Jasper receive air. Maxon receives water.
Dade manifests earth, and Gatlin manifests fire.
It is orderly, expected, and totally compliant.
But Tessa is made to go last, and here's where it gets really interesting. When it's Tessa's turn, a mysterious hooded male steps onto the platform.
This isn't the normal priestess who conducted the other awakenings?
Not at all. He starts drawing stars on her skin with a tool called a scion. As he draws the final star, he leans in and whispers to her, "A storm is coming."
That phrase is so loaded, it's a promise and a threat.
And the result is absolutely explosive. It isn't just a spark of magic. Blinding, sunlight-bright magic erupts from her body.
It's overwhelming.
She doesn't just manifest an element. She creates a literal, chaotic storm indoors. Lightning shatters the marble balconies of the arena where the legacy are sitting.
Rain pours down from the ceiling.
Her magic violently, almost gleefully, lashes out and attacks the guards trying to subdue her. It is unadulterated chaos.
We have to dissect the clues presented in that explosion of power because the plot twist here is monumental.
It changes everything we know about her.
The sheer nature of this event proves that Tessa isn't Fae. She isn't even demi-Fae.
She's something else.
The light magic she exhibits strongly points to the lineage of Haz, the god of light and beginnings. But there is a massive contradiction embedded in her power.
Right.
Haz magic, by its very nature in this lore, is light, order, and law. It cannot summon a storm.
Order doesn't equal chaotic storms.
Exactly. The sheer wildness of her power, the lightning, the rain, the uncontrollable fury of it, implies a mixture of divine lineages that simply shouldn't exist in one person.
It's unprecedented.
She holds the light of beginnings, but the chaotic fury of something else entirely, something ancient and unrestrained.
The immediate aftermath of her emerging is an absolute bloodbath. The arena erupts into a full-scale riot.
Total panic.
Axel, Theon's brother, leaps down from the boxes and uses his shadows to protect Tessa. And we see the ruthless training of Walter come out here.
He doesn't hold back.
Axel is brutally killing Fae guards and legacy sentinels, just slaughtering anyone in their path to help her escape the arena, but they don't make it to safety.
A shocking intervention occurs.
Warden Jove, the Lord of the Haz Kingdom, intercepts them. He hits Axel with a massive blast of light and captures Tessa himself.
Which is a brilliant narrative pivot. We've spent the whole time focusing on the Ares Kingdom as the threat, and suddenly the peaceful Haz Kingdom makes a violent move.
Exactly. And when Tessa wakes up, She is in a plush, white and gold room in Rawdon's private country manor. The contrast from the dark dungeons of Aria's house is jarring,
It's disorienting.
but the ultimate betrayal is waiting for her there. She turns her head and sees her best friend, Dex. Dex, the guy she wanted to eat pizza with. He is sitting right there, calmly aligned with the Akaz Lord, acting like everything is completely normal.
The psychological impact of this betrayal cannot be overstated. Dex was her tether to reality,
Her only safe space.
her one safe harbor in a world designed to use her. This betrayal, coupled with the revelation from Rawdon, fundamentally shatters Tessa's character trajectory.
It breaks her.
Rawdon confirms to her that she is not Fae. He tells her that she has been forgotten in this realm for a specific purpose, though he remains frustratingly vague, manipulative even, about what that purpose is.
That's typical Legacy Lord behavior.
He implies that Dex has known about this, or at least been working with him, for 20 years, for her entire life.
It's devastating. Tessa realizes she has been a pawn on multiple different chessboards simultaneously.
Everyone is using her.
She has been stripped of her identity, her freedom, her bodily autonomy by Theon, and now the one person she trusted implicitly has been revealed as a liar working for a Legacy Lord. She is completely, totally alone.
Later that night, after Theon inevitably tracks her down because of the source bond, he can always find her. He brings her back to his suite at Aria's house.
Right back in the cage.
And we see the true, chilling impact of this shattering. Tessa lies in bed next to a sleeping Theon. She is staring out the window at the approaching dawn, and she is humming the Revelation Decree to herself.
Such a powerful image.
And she has this profound, terrifying internal realization. She realizes that literally everyone in her life has lied to her.
Everyone.
Theon with his shadows, Mother Cordelia who raised her at the estate, the Legacy Lords, Rawdon, and even Dex. Everyone has tried to mold her to fit their specific needs. Everyone has tried to control her.
And this is the turning point. This is where she stops being a victim and starts becoming a true threat.
A huge shift.
She looks at the sleeping Theon, the Heir of Endings, the man who forced her into this life, and she makes a decision. She decides that she will no longer let them break her.
She's done running.
If her soul has been shattered into a million pieces by these people, she'll simply build a new one. A soul that is untouchable. A soul that is ruthless.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of trauma and survival, we are watching the birth of a terrifyingly powerful entity reclaiming her agency in the only way left to her.
The only way she can.
Theon systematically broke her defenses. He forced her into a corner where survival meant submission. But in doing so, in shattering her old compliant identity as a face source, he accidentally created the very weapon that might destroy the entire existing world order.
He made his own worst nightmare.
As Tessa notes in her own internal monologue, when strong enough, light can obliterate darkness. She stops running from the storm inside her. She decides to become the storm they all fear.
I love that line. When strong enough, light can obliterate darkness.
It's a total paradigm shift.
It changes the rules of the game.
And just when you think you have a grasp on the stakes of this world, the sources throw us an epilogue teaser that expands the universe exponentially.
The scale suddenly gets so much bigger.
We're suddenly introduced to two new actual gods hiding in an enchanted forest: Temeril, the god of the wild and untamed, and Selah, the goddess of night and shadows. The hidden children of Arius and Seraphina.
And they're plotting. Temeril says he needs to send someone into Devram to tip the scales. Selah tells him that a simple world walker won't be enough against the power brewing there. She says he needs to send the High Queen of the World Walkers.
This is a massive expansion of the lore that completely shifts the scale of the conflict.
Huge.
The author's notes confirm that Devram shares a universe with her previously completed Lady of Darkness series,
which fans will immediately recognize.
This implies that the High Queen from that series is about to be deployed into Devram. We are no longer just looking at a political coup. We are looking at cosmic, multi-realm forces preparing to collide.
It's all coming together.
You have the established, corrupt legacy rule of Devram. You have Theon's desperate, shadowy coup to overthrow his sadistic father, and now you have the intervention of hidden gods sending in a High Queen from another world entirely.
The stakes are astronomical.
All of this is converging right at the exact moment Tessa is awakening to god-level storm powers and a newfound, ruthless desire to tear down anyone who tries to control her. The powder keg is fully primed.
It is an incredible journey we've covered today. We started with what seemed like a lowly fae hiding in an alcove with stolen chocolate, just trying to avoid notice and survive a system built to use her.
A simple girl trying to survive.
We analyze how she was ripped from her life, forced to become a captive source, and bound by blood and magic to the terrifying Heir of Endings in a brutal display of coercive control.
A harrowing transition.
We looked at the tragic, horrific trauma that created Theon and Axel. And we ended with the explosive revelation of a wild, godlike power that threatens to tear down the entire political and magical structure of Devram.
It's a lot to process.
So what does this all mean? I want you to reflect on the nature of control and resilience in this story. Look at Tessa. Look at how the systems around her, the estates, the legacy lords, the source bond, even her best friend, demand her absolute submission.
They want her to bow.
How do we react when the world tries to force us into a box? Do we submit? Do we let them break us? Or do we become the storm that shatters the box entirely?
The psychological depth of that question is what makes this narrative so compelling and why it rises above standard fantasy fare.
It really does.
Tessa's journey is a dark, twisted mirror reflecting our own struggles for autonomy against systemic pressures. She is stripped of everything, her past, her agency, her safety. Yet she finds the ultimate defiance not in returning to who she was, but in embracing the chaotic, destructive power they tried so desperately to suppress within her.
I want to leave you with a final, lingering question to mull over as we wrap up this deep dive. Consider the words of the Revelation decree again. Chaos does not choose. Control the uncontrollable, or to fury they both lose.
That's the crux of it all.
Theon's entire identity, his magic, his lineage, his survival mechanism, is based on endings and absolute rigid control. Tessa's newly awakened power is light, chaos, and uncontrollable wildness.
Opposites bound together.
What happens when an unstoppable force of light and chaos is permanently, magically tethered to an immovable object of death and shadow? Who truly ends up holding the leash?
A terrifying thought.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Reign of Shadows and Endings. Keep questioning the narratives you're handed, just like Tessa. We'll see you next time.